Hi, I'm Steve Wragg. I'm the Flood Risk Manager for City of York Council. I'm here today to talk to you about funding that we've received from the DEFRA Flood and Coastal Resilience Innovation Programme. Hopefully, in the next few minutes, I'll be able to illustrate some of the ways in which we interpret the expression of interest and the call for funding, and also look at ways in which we identified the key parts of that and reflected that in our bids and submissions. But first, I'd like to just explain a little bit about the project. Our project is looking to work across the Swale, Ure and Nid catchments upstream of York and covering a large area of the North Yorkshire County Council area. Those three watercourses all flow together just upstream of York to form the River Ouse. And the River Ouse through York has given a historic long-term flood risk with many floods, the most notable being the 2000 floods, the 2015 floods, and lots of other floods in between. Colleagues across North Yorkshire have been affected by many of those flood events as well, from main rivers and other considerable watercourses, but also smaller, flashier floods up on the Dales and other higher areas outside of the Vale of York. Our project really came together from a need to build on the resilience that's already taking place through York, our network of defences that have been in place since the late 80s, early 90s, but work that's needed now to actually bring them up to a better standard of protection, which now reflects future climate change. However, we understand that we can't continue to raise those defences, otherwise the height of the walls and the embankments will severely cut off residents from the river, and anyone using the river would not be able to enjoy the rest of the city. We would essentially be sterilising the rivers through York. Clearly, that's not something that we want to look towards doing. And also a reflection that North Yorkshire County Council colleagues need to find other opportunities to actually develop natural flood risk management approaches, because they struggle to develop formal flood alleviation schemes using the standard funding formulas that are in place. So our project looks to actually incentivise the uptake of natural flood management across the Swale Ure Nid catchment by providing intense and detailed modelling and targeting a shopping list of natural flood risk management measures to a local geographic level, but then reflecting the benefits that can arise from that work to those in the urban areas, whether that's downstream in York or individual communities across North Yorkshire County Council, and essentially linking the sellers and the buyers of NFM, those that will benefit, the buyers, to those that will, ultimately be able to provide the ecosystem services and the natural measures on the land that they own and operate. And then we'll target a wide range of different funding opportunities, whether or not that's through the LEP or the Emerging Elms scheme, or things such as land swapping, land banking, reverse auctions, and other such measures. And that's the real big outcome of the project that we're looking to achieve over the next 5-6 years. So as well as reflecting some of the issues that I've just detailed in the previous slide in a clear and concise way, in a way that tells the story of what we're trying to achieve through the project, because I believe that's the really important thing with any funding submission or funding bid, to take the reader with you, to write it in the style which they're used to seeing, but illustrate the outcomes and their desired improvements that they want to see from investing the funding that they are willing to give to you. That is the key thing, to actually provide the hooks to get the funder to take heed of the scheme that you're looking to develop, and then ultimately be in a place where they're happy to give you the funding to deliver the outcomes that you're trying to achieve. So clearly, on top of all of that, it's important to identify some of the other things that are in there in the call for funding. And on this slide, I've just detailed 3 areas. One was innovation. It's the Flood and Coastal Resilience Innovation Programme, after all. So clearly our scheme had to show how it's innovative. And there's 2 areas that I've included there. In reality, the actual submission had other areas that were potentially developing new policy and new process, and we're working with DEFRA on some of those as an outcome of the funding award. But 2 areas there: identifying and targeting new funding opportunities, something that is looking to bring new funding into this area, into flood risk management in general, was something that we really provided quite a bit of evidence on. effectively linking the sellers and buyers of natural flood management. I've been in the industry for since the late 90s, and I think often things that are done upstream of urban conurbations are done often without people in those conurbations really understanding what's happening and what it's looking to achieve. But yet we hear the desire for works to be done at a catchment scale and up on the moors and before the water even enters our cities all the time. So that linkage is a really big innovative part of our submission. So why is this different? The middle two hexagons that you can see there, the scale of it, it's a considerable scale. That's potentially one of the risks to the project, of course, but it's the catchment wall assessment of NFM and then really driving the demand once we show what can be done. So really bringing it back to those urban beneficiaries to make them demand the need to do this. And also I've got there the re-optimization of flood risk and biodiversity outcomes in NFM. I think more often than not, actual catchment scale solutions and farm level measures often deliver biodiversity and ecology and water quality improvements as the front runner outcomes. And natural flood management is inherent in all that they do, but this is looking to actually say, look, if you do this here, it will derive these benefits there. So almost, getting a bit of parity between those primary outcomes. And no time like the present. Really, we're in a rapidly changing period now. We've got ELMS coming on board, the devolved administration and the mayoral setup across North Yorkshire is a fantastic opportunity. COP26 and climate emergencies, obviously all of these things that are happening now. But I think that devolved administration is a really key one. The mayoral asks document that's in place for the potential devolved administration there really wants to do a lot in this arena, and we've formed quite a lot of links within our funding bid to really draw on that and support it and build on it. And speaking of building on it, the final one I've got there, and building on all of the current catchment expertise and delivery, I think we're hearing this a lot in the workshops since we've developed the projects, and I'm really pleased that it's something that we had at the forefront of our submission. We recognise that there's a fantastic array of work already happening across the catchment from all the various catchment partnerships, and our opportunity builds on that and actually primes those partnerships to actually get the boots on the ground to get this work done. Friendly faces already with relationships and friends within these communities, and we've really majored on that as part of our bid, and I believe that will have been a really important thing to actually make it a successful bid. Thank you.